Hi friends, it's Michelle Ladd, RV Hero Gypsy, NationalVeteranResources.com, and Heroes Home Advantage. I am with one of my favorite heroes today, Patty Gorman, and Patty has an incredible story to share with you guys. We're not going to respond to any comments right now. I am traveling. I stopped to visit him and I'm on my way to Pennsylvania. So I just want to introduce Patty. I have known him for many years now. My dear friend and hero, Destiny Dieterville, hey Destiny, introduced us. And at the time, he was considering purchasing a home. So my team helped him purchase a home, and recently he sold a home from one of my other team members with the Heroes Home Advantage program. And so I got Patty and his lovely fiance here in the RV. I'm in a Tops parking lot in Orchard Park, New York. And I didn't know a lot of what he shared with me today. And because of my mission, and that is traveling the country, raising awareness for our veterans and our first responders to a lot of things that they have to deal with because of their careers. He shared so many things with me that I didn't know about him. So I'm going to ask him a couple general questions, and then I'm going to have him just share his story with you. He's going to touch you, and he's going to make a difference in so many of your lives. So I just want you to sit back and relax for a few moments. We're not going to go on and on here today like I do sometimes because I am getting ready to get on the road. So, Patty, you have served in 2 separate branches of our military, so I want them to know the branches that you served and what your MOS was and how many years you've served.
The United States Marine Corps 0311 Infantry, 8 years. I then had a small break in service, and I rejoined the United States Army Civil Affairs 38 Bravo.
Awesome. I've known him for so many years. He's referred so many heroes that were looking to buy or sell homes, so we've developed a relationship. But today he shared some very personal things with me, and I told him I would like him to share what he would like to share with you, but I think that when you hear what he has to tell you, it's going to make a big difference, especially for those veterans out there. My message to you, and it's going to be before and after, is please ask for help and get the help that you need in some of the areas that he's going to talk about today. So Patty has shared with me he's been deployed many times, and he's had many injuries. And so I think I would like to just start with how you just described to me your first injury, the first deployment, and then what you feel comfortable sharing with the community.
Okay. Well, I've had the pleasure to serve under many conflicts during the original Gulf Wars of Somalia to OEF. And being in 2 different branches of services, you definitely have the opportunities to go to different places. But some of the injuries that we sustained that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of the physical injuries to our knees and back. Unfortunately, I carried a soldier that had his foot ripped off to the helicopter, and with full kit on, both of us, and I tore both of my ACLs during this time. But as most of us fellow grunts know out there, if you're either hurt or you're injured. If you're hurt, you can move on. If you're injured, there's a bone sticking out, so you can't train. So you don't say anything. As time goes on, that just continues to get worse. And as we get older, the back injuries continue. I've torn both my ACLs. I've torn the labrum off my hip, both times carrying a soldier out of an area. And both times I never said anything until I was well back home and the damage was almost permanently done. Those injuries were done mostly early on in my career. So now at 47 years old, you can imagine the damage that my body experiences every single day and the pain that goes through, where my beautiful fiance has to actually put me in a hot bath just so I'm able to walk some days. The most significant one is something that's prevalent today is traumatic brain injuries. I suffered a very severe traumatic brain injury where my skull was fractured. This is a long time ago, and this is before anyone knew the long-term neurological and psychological effects of traumatic brain injuries. After I was stapled back up, I was right back out training in no time. This was actually prior to 9/11 during the Somalia conflict, and then I had multiple ones after that. But as all of us soldiers do, you don't want to say anything because you're either going to get kicked off the deployment, kicked out of training, or they're going to try and process you out. So you never say anything. No matter how bad the headaches are, no matter how bad your pain is inside, you just don't say anything because you're ostracized in the beginning, or you were thought of as weak, or certain presidents were downsized in the military, so you would lose your job, and everyone wanted to get that 20-year letter or make sure you have an honorable discharge. Unfortunately for me, as time went on, I began also working for the VA, trying to help my fellow vets deal with the situations that I was dealing with. I was suffering so much from depression and neurological issues, from headaches to nosebleeds, hallucinations. It's unbelievable. The VA's only response was take more medication. All of us have been there. So I was refusing to take most of the medication they were trying to provide me, and when I was asking for certain help, they were telling me I was being non-compliant for not taking the meds. Unfortunately for me, the headaches and everything got so bad that I started drinking a case of beer every couple of days along with a bottle of whiskey, and that went on for maybe about a year and a half. I still worked for the VA, and I still was in the military, and I actually lost a lot of my family and relationships over it. And until finally one day, I was out on the range with my buddies, and coming home, I decided to take my own life with my AR-15. The round jammed in the chamber, and what I found weird is I was actually more mad being a grunt that my weapon was dirty, that it misfired, than I was that I was actually alive. But all I remember is pulling the trigger and hearing the click, and I just looked down, and I was actually more pissed that my weapon jammed, that I didn't clean it properly. I tried to talk about it. I was too afraid to talk about it to the guys in my unit because they're my peers and I'm looked up to. I was afraid to talk about it to my friends at the VA that were in the medical department because they were also my friends, and I was helping my fellow vets go through them. So I tried to reach out to someone in my department, and they neglected my care. They said that it was to just push on, just deal with it. Unfortunately for me, I've had multiple suicide attempts. I tried to overdose on drugs with the pills that the VA gave me. I did talk to the guys in my unit for it, and the guys rushed to my aid, as all my fellow vets now out there knew. Your brothers and sisters never turned their back on you. They took all my guns away from me, and they called me every single day. But I didn't want to say anything to the higher-ups in the unit because I didn't want to get kicked out. And I was trying with the VA, but it's not the medical staff wasn't trying to help, but the administrative staff that I was going through wouldn't help liaison, so I wouldn't have to talk to the people that I knew because I felt embarrassed of what I was going through. The headaches, the depression were insurmountable. Every single day I thought about ways to kill myself. Every single day I would wake up with either a headache that was so bad I don't know how I made it to work, blood on my pillow. I'd wake up lost, disorientated all the time. I would pass out continuously at work. My coworkers knew that I was going through stuff. They were telling my superiors what was going through, and it was all just neglected. Part of it is my fault for not actually pushing it through, but finally, my last suicide attempt, which kind of pushed me over the edge, was I left the VA one day and told my boss that if I don't get help, I'm gonna kill myself today, and I was told pretty much suck it up. So I went home and bought a rifle, and my friend, who's a patient advocate at the Buffalo VA, Nick Lamarca, if you see this guy saved my life. He was calling me repeatedly. I wouldn't answer the phone. About 8 beers into a 12-pack, I made sure the rifle was cleaned. I had it pointed to my head, and before I knew it, my front door opened. What was odd to me is, being a Marine, I always secured my hatches, but this day I left it open. And an officer walked in who was a 11 Bravo grunt for the Army, and told all the rest of the police to get out of there. Took off his belt. We talked for like 25 minutes, and he took me to the hospital. If it wasn't for Nick Lamarca from the Buffalo VA, I would be dead. I've suffered with headaches that I can't even begin to tell you what they're like. Waking up with the nosebleeds, my hands would tremor all the time. Sometimes I couldn't even eat with a spoon because my hands would tremor so bad. I've asked the VA to help me, but unfortunately their medical staff is so understaffed because they're so underfunded, because the administrative part takes all the money, that there's not a whole lot of help out there. I know a lot of people from the Wounded Warrior Project and other local veterans groups, but again, I was too embarrassed to talk to my friends about what I was going through, so most of this is on me. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I felt embarrassed talking to my family. I talked to my fellow military buddies, but I was looked at as a guy that helped all of them, so how, you know what I mean? So a lot of them didn't know how to help the one that was always helping them. I've drank more than I could possibly imagine, and one thing I can say is, I'll end this now, is you have to talk to your loved ones about it. And I've lost a lot. I've lost so much I can't even begin to tell you. But luckily for me, last June I met somebody who has changed my life, and this person's actually is my fiance now, Megan, and she's actually done everything she can to try and understand my stories. That's because she's made me tell her, and I was opened up to tell her. A lot of times we're told to try and tell our stories, but we're too tough inside or don't want to. But I actually opened up to her, and as much as it's hard to do, once you do it and you have someone that's going to be there for you, it does get better. And my hands will shake, and she'll tell me to drink water, or if I have a headache, she'll know what to do. She's always constantly there because she's picked up on the signs that I told her over time. And if it wasn't for her, I would most likely be dead today, because in April of last year, I figured I had a plan that this was going to be the last summer of my life. I was going to enjoy it fully, and that at the end of the summer I was going to take my life because just nothing was worth it anymore. I lost my military career over this. I had to be medically retired from the government, and it sucked. I felt worthless. But now I feel I have a whole new life because I finally opened up to somebody. So if any of my fellow vets are out there, listen, you can hit me up on Facebook. I have all sorts of resources, and I have a lot more about the stories that I'm sort of keeping in now because I want it for time. But I'd love to help any of you out there if you need help, and I just thank you all for listening to the story.
Thank you so much. I didn't expect that. I just wanted to come and meet these guys today. I knew a little bit about his military career, but he opened up, and as he's saying, you guys need to open up. Talk to your loved ones, and I'm reaching out to all these organizations around the country. Follow me on nationalveteranresources.com. I'm sharing all these organizations. I'm sharing the stories of our heroes. Get help. My message today is please talk and get help. So, Megan, can I just show you for a second? She's going to kill me. I have to show you. She's so beautiful. Look who I have in my RV.
Hi.
I did not mean to embarrass you, but
no, it's okay.
I want to thank her for the love and support she's given Patty. And I've been thrilled for Patty since I got to meet her last summer. He told me he was going to propose to her. Told me he was going to sell the house, and then he was going to propose to her, and that happened, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And June 1st, it is possible, guys. You men and women out there, just please ask for help. And I'm just speechless right now. I have to get driving. I have 4 hours before I get to my next destination in Pennsylvania. But I just want to tell you that tell you guys, it was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you agreed to meet with me. I'm so glad to see you both. And and you guys just keep me in your prayers for my safety and our health, Chellis and I. And I guess I'll just put a little plug in for Heroes Home Advantage. Patty has sold a house and purchased a house. He used our loan officer, our realtor, our home inspectors, attorneys, and he saved thousands. So around the country, if you're a hero and you're going to buy or sell a house, you know how to contact me. But it's not about that today. So God bless you. God bless your union. And I'm so happy that you're here today. And keep strong. And I'm saying prayers for you guys.
Thank you.
Just want you to know that. All right. God bless. Gotta go. Love you guys. Thanks for all the love and support.